Thank you for joining us. My name is Karim. Today we have a great show. I have with me Melody Adhami, who's the president and COO of Plastic Mobile. In fact, when we started doing this series, I think I told you when I had you on back then, way back in 2011, that you were the first female entrepreneur.
Yes.
That I had, and since then we've had more. So that's amazing.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad I set the way for you to come on the show.
You did. So a little bit about Plastic Mobile. Award-winning mobile marketing agency. You've worked with some of North America's leading brands, such as Pizza, and you guys won a Webby Award for that. We'll talk about the app as well. I'm very curious about that. You've also worked with Sportsnet, Mazda, and a bunch of other different companies. And you also, and this I didn't know, you also launched the first radio, iPhone app, and iPad app in Canada.
Back in 2008 or
were there smartphones?
2009. It was 680. It was the first news radio app.
Okay.
Yeah, and so on BlackBerry and iPhone, and that was really exciting back then. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, what was it like then, back in 2008, 2009? Was it still, was it, this is experimental stuff, or what was 680 looking for?
So I think definitely at that point, mobile in general was experimental. So when we were doing it, when we were working, there were not a lot of people in the space. There weren't the types of apps and the types of engagements and activities that are going on in the app space. That wasn't there. I would say at that time, the clients weren't even ready for those types of engagements. I think Rogers was pretty progressive in where they were building the mobile properties, and we helped them quite a bit at the beginning with a ton of their properties. So the 680, we call them the green radio lineup.
That's right.
Because lineup of applications, and then we worked with them on some of their properties like Today's Parent and bringing them onto mobile web. So definitely progressive, but a lot has changed in the past 4 years.
Yeah, that is so true. Now, talking about progressive, more recently we've had Amex and Twitter hooking up. We also have had Visa and MasterCard teaming up with Foursquare, and I think that's very recent, if not within the past day or so on this recording. What are your thoughts on, people have always talked about, Foursquare and is it relevant or not, and even Twitter, what's the monetization plans there? What are your thoughts as these two companies, Twitter and Foursquare, teaming up with some of these giants, MasterCard, Visa, and American Express?
So my thoughts are twofold. One, I think it's great because I think a large company like Amex or MasterCard to be jumping on progressive technologies, as we were talking, then more cutting edge technologies like Twitter or something like Foursquare. It's exciting. It's exciting when you're in the digital space. It's exciting when you're in the social media space, and it's exciting when you're in the mobile space. Yeah. Because you see the large brands who traditionally tend to shy away from new technologies, who are afraid of conversations happening in the open space, actually embracing this type of forum and medium. I think it's exciting. Yeah. From the other perspective, I think it's a good opportunity for them. I think there's a lot happening in the Twitter sphere, and I think there's a lot happening on Foursquare. Maybe not as much as there were maybe a couple of years ago, but I think there's still a lot happening, and I think the brands can take advantage of it.
Yeah. Do you think it opens up the conversation more towards, and I'm sure you had this with Pizza, and I want to talk about it next, in terms of monetizing mobile or monetizing social? Does it open it up to where these brands are going to go back to their agencies, or they're going to go back to the brand manager and say, listen, we've been on Foursquare, we've been on Twitter, we've been on Facebook. Now here are companies like Visa and MasterCard, opening up the opportunity for us to continue to use these platforms, and not just to engage with consumers or engage with our community, but also to be able to, bring in revenues.
So I think wherever you have customers and you're a brand, at the end of the day, you want to be able to bring in revenue. Yeah. It may not always be the first thing you're doing, and it may not always be the immediate future, but at some point you want to be able to do that. I think this is probably the first stepping stone and a great place for that type of monetization to begin. Yeah,
it'll be great. It'll be very interesting to see what brands hop on it and see 3, 4, 6 months down the road what are some of the case studies? What are some of the really, really interesting things that have come out of this? So Pizza, congratulations on winning that Webby Award. And also congratulations, I know that Forrester Research did a case study and really, really in depth on that. And I'd like to spend some time on that if that's good with you. I guess the simple question is why is Forrester talking about it? Why did you win the Webby Award? What was it about that app that really piqued their curiosity and interest?
So I think I don't think it's just any one thing or one piece of the application that's going to say, this is why, it piqued the curiosity of Forrester or that we won the awards. We won one Webby Award, but I think in total it has over 20 awards. It's really been a great success story for Pizza and for us as well. So much so that, just a few months ago we rolled out the iPad application. Okay. And it has great reviews. The user feedback's amazing, and even revenue and the sales that are going through it are definitely pointing in the right direction for mobile. I think it's a couple of things. So I think for one thing, the convenience and the usability is spot on. Okay. So we spent a lot of time. We worked with the client really closely. We worked internally with our usability and creative team to make sure that the experience was as seamless as it could be. That meant that we had user focus groups and people giving us feedback throughout the process, just to make sure that it's the best experience that it could possibly be. Okay. So the experience is the first. I think second, the audience is right. Pizza generally has a younger audience, or it has young families, and you're a mom on the go, you want to order pizza, you do it every Tuesday, it's a repeat type task. Yeah. It's really easy to get that type of stuff going on your mobile. And we hear it in the review. If you read the App Store, you'll hear people commenting. If you go on Twitter, you'll hear people saying these things. So we know that that's validated. And the third thing I think is that pizza ordering lends itself, I think shopping in general lends itself to mobile really well. Okay. Sometimes it's a spur of the moment thing, whether you're buying something really quickly because you need it as a gift, or whether it's pizza because you need it for dinner in an hour, or sometimes when it's my spontaneous purse purchase in the morning from Guild at 11 a.m. It lends itself for having your phone there and being able to order really quickly and on the go. So I think it's it's a bunch of those things together have kind of merged and offered this product that's doing really well, not just in let's say Forrester's minds, but in the minds of the customers, which I think is very important there. Yeah. So you talked about not just ordering pizza, but the whole other retailers. There's an experience there with people, or really e-commerce shopping. Was there anything, or whether it's one thing or a number of things that you learned through this experience and continuing experience that you are applying to other clients, or that you see can be applicable to other clients? Yeah. So first and foremost, and I can't emphasize this enough, is you need to understand your customer and you need to make sure that you're giving them what they need. So that's number one. If your customer needs one-click ordering, that's what you need to have. Interesting. If your customer is interested in product details and descriptions, you need to make sure that's front row center. If timeliness or immediacy is really important, you need to make sure that that's figured out and handled. So for us, I think that's what we apply for all of the transactional type commerce interactions we do, is we try to understand what's most important and make sure we tackle that first, and to the best of our abilities. And I think that's it's really a design philosophy or usability philosophy. I think it's something that Apple has always followed, and it's like the simplicity model. Provide the easiest, simplest route to what it is your customers want. Interesting.
I'm curious. I think it's been an argument or a debate ever since e-commerce came on the scene. With different types of retail shopping. whether it's something that you can buy on spec, like a computer, laptop or such, or a smartphone, and going online and buying it, is a different experience, I think, than, for example, buying clothing online. Some people want to feel the material, some people want to wear it, things of that nature. What's the role in mobile and in e-commerce, and can these lessons be applied across the board, or does there still need to be some tweaking?
So I agree with you that if you're buying a computer, or if you're buying a phone, or if you're buying a book, or if you're buying a pot, that it's really easy. You know what you're getting. You've probably felt it. It's paper, and you know what you're getting, so it's really easy. Whereas something like shoes or shirts and clothing, you don't know how it's going to fit, and you don't know how it's going to work. Having said that, I shop for clothing and shoes all the time online.
Amazing.
And actually more on mobile than I do online.
Okay.
Definitely more. Maybe 80% more. It's a very spontaneous purchase for me.
Yeah.
So as a user, I would say it took me a while to come around. So I've only been doing it in the past couple of years. It took me a while to come around, but if the retailer offers a good enough return policy and a way for me to be able to exchange, and if there's a problem with it, to be able to fix that problem, then I don't have a problem buying it.
Interesting.
And I think that it's a behavioral shift more than anything.
Okay.
And it may be slower uptake and slower that people come around to doing it. But I don't think, 10 years down the road it's going to be uncommon for everybody to be doing it, at least to some extent.
Yeah. I took a look. You guys in January published a mobile report. And is this something you guys do every month, by the way?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
So we have a report that we aggregate.
Okay.
So they're not our statistics, but we aggregate statistics from other research firms and everything, and we put together a report that basically gives a snapshot of the space.
Snapshot of the space. So for example, in January there were some figures in there. 30% of shoppers visited a site via mobile before going shopping. 54% crave digital experiences at the retailers they're going to. And 80% of people have identified themselves as digital shoppers. And I encourage everyone, we'll put a link to one of them here, but I encourage everyone, to go and check out some of these mobile reports that the Plastic Mobile puts out there. With all of these, with people identifying themselves as I want. And we've talked about Pizza, we've talked about 680 News, and of course all the other clients that you're working with. But it still seems to me that retailers, outside of, here's a mobile app that shows you maybe our product, but you can't yet order through here. We'll show you a map of our store, we'll show you our lines, we'll show you some cool stuff, but, you have to come to us to shop. Or we'll send you to another website where you can do your ordering. And again, some retailers are different in terms of the types of products. But with all of this information, it seems to me that retailers are still slow to come around to what consumers want. What are your thoughts on it? Why are retailers slow, and what are they doing?
So, definitely something we face every day.
Yeah.
I think there was a fact, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but I was quoting it last year, and it was something like, out of the Fortune 500 companies, something like 7 or 15% or something really small were offering mobilized versions of their website, or were offering something mobile friendly. It was very small, and this was last year, so I know it's changed quite a bit. But and at that same time, you saw that customers were well ahead. And the trend is the same. It's just the numbers are shifting slightly. I think that's exactly it. The retailers are slow, and I think it's because in some cases, when it comes to commerce or when it comes to transactional type businesses, it's probably a huge undertaking for them to be able to offer, a mobile application or a mobile website, and it might be a big change on their back end, or a big change in the way they're doing business, or something like that may be inhibiting them from being able to offer some of these things to their customers. Having said that, I would argue that if you wait too long, then you risk losing your customers to the up-and-coming brands, to the guilds, and to the people who are doing it right.
So, case in point, Blockbuster.
That's exactly it,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
You know, there's Netflix and then there's Blockbuster.
Yes.
So, and that's exactly it. So, you know, if you wait too long, I understand the limitations and the challenges, but we often say if you wait too long, then, you know, be prepared to possibly face the consequences.
Yeah, it's change.
Of change, that's exactly it.
You mentioned mobile apps. You know, all these companies that are designing responsive design apps and stuff. Is there a debate? Do you have a preference? Can it be both? Is it one or the other? You know, mobile site versus native app. What do you think?
I always say it could be both. We don't have a preference for one or the other because I think they serve different purposes. So I think for Pizza, for example, the application makes sense because you have it and you have saved orders and you have a favorite store and it's really easy to have, you know, your payment information saved or whatever it is. You know, your order saved, so it really makes sense. There's a utility there. But for instance, you know, if you know you just want to be searchable, or you want your corporate information on there, and you're not really selling anything or offering anything, then a mobile website may be enough because people are really coming to find your location or your address or whatever it may be. So I think they serve their purpose.
Interesting. Awesome. There was a recent blog post that you guys published, and it quoted a study by Euclid Analytics. You know, talking about you know, technology to figure out how people are actually going into a physical store and where they're going, and how they're using technology in this way to track people's experiences in store. You know, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this use of mobile to help you know, better inform retailers?
So I think data has always been something that everybody wants to wrap their head around and wants more information so that they can make wiser decisions and better decisions for their customers and better decisions for their businesses. I think having access to that type of data, or the type of data that Euclid offers, is great. I think sometimes it pushes on the breaches of privacy, but that's a different conversation.
Sure.
But you know, the reality is, you can capture a lot of data, but unless you're doing something with the data and you're acting, then, you know, it's like you're doing nothing. So, you know, even some simple metrics as tracking what's happening on your website can provide some really important information about what you should be doing in mobile. And I don't think some companies are even doing that. So, yes, data is important, but mining the data and making something out of it is probably more important.
Yeah, perfect. I remember the last time that you came in studio and that we spoke, I asked you about, you know, what some of the new things that Plastic is doing. And I remember you telling me about a platform that you guys are building. You know, talk a little bit about that and some of the things that you've learned from that.
So, we built the platform.
Yeah.
It's a great platform. It still exists. You know, it's a self-publishing platform. It's not something that we've pursued really heavily because our business model has really evolved into more of a service-oriented business where we help our clients. You know, currently we're working with, as you know, Pizza, we're working with Air Miles, we're working with Canadian Real Estate Association, we're working with some really top brands in Canada. So we've really put our focus into those arenas.
Yeah.
That's right. And, you know, it's keeping us busy.
Sure.
It's keeping us busy, and you know, we see that as our focus right now, and what we've done in the past few years is we've really worked on providing the best possible quality products for our clients, and that's where we've put our focus. So, yeah, we haven't really evolved the platform much further than where it was probably a couple of years ago. It's still a great product. It's just not really in line with the direction that we're taking the company.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You can name companies if you want to, clients if you want to, but you know, what are, and if you don't want to, that's fine. But I'm really curious, are you working right, and I'm sure you'll say yes, but are you working on anything that's really cutting edge, really, really cool, that you can shed some light on?
So I can't name clients, but we are working on really cool store, retail, payment type activations.
Okay.
Which is really exciting. Because it's and in some cases it's the first time where retailers are venturing into this type of space in Canada. I mean, I know there's been some small pilots with payments and things like that, but we're really working on and coming up with a good solution for some of our clients. So that's really exciting. We're really excited about that. And I think that that's something that's more in the future. I don't think it's, it's not. No, I mean, we're working on it now, but it's not that the interaction of mobile with in-store experiences isn't really prevalent, in large scale right now.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that more and more retailers are going to venture into.
Interesting.
And we hope to set the bar for that.
Set the standard for that,
Exactly.
And once that's in place, I hope you let us know so we can
Absolutely.
talk about it, let people know about that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
You'll hopefully hear about it, and then you'll ask us to come back on the show and tell you how to
Absolutely. For sure we will. But before you come on the show, I know that you and your team are all over the place. Where can people see you speak next, or where can people interact with your really cool candy shop?
Oh, we will be on the road. We always say our candy shop is on the road. So we're going to be at DX3. We're going to be at the Shopper Marketing Forum next week. And I think probably e-tail and a bunch of other things that we're doing.
Yeah.
Some events in California and some here at home. So I think you can probably see some of those updates on our blog.
Fantastic.
But I think the next one's in a couple of weeks at DX3.
Awesome. And are you speaking there?
I am.
What are you talking on? Can you shed any light on it?
It's basically retail. I'm talking about the basically what mobile does to retail and how it has the impact and the effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be speaking with Amber Mack as well during her spotlight.
Amazing.
And Ernst & Young spotlight, I guess it is. And then, hoping to just meet really cool people there and see what others are doing and get, a handle on what's going on in the digital space. We had a really good time at DX3 last year, so
Fantastic.
I hope it's going to be really great this year.
Excellent. Well, all the best with that.
There?
I will be there.
Excellent.
For sure. I will be there for sure. How can people find you online? Where can people go for more information about Melody, about Plastic Mobile?
So you can go to plasticmobile.com. And then you can follow us on Twitter, and you can...
Twitter, you're at Plastic Mobile?
Yeah, it is at Plastic Mobile and
Fantastic.
at Melody Adhami. So you can find us.
Awesome.
You can Google us and you'll find us right at the top. So.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much again for coming in. Really, really appreciate it. Really looking forward to some of the cool and innovative things that you guys got planned for retailers across North America and around the world. And thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Karim Kanji. You can find me on Twitter at Karim Kanji. Go check us out online at thirdocean.com. Bye-bye.